Not everyone is meant to be beautiful, and sometimes nature that gives us traits that are difficult to call attractive. Although one must always remember that happiness is not at all looks. This story is about an American woman, Grace McDaniels, who was born in 1888 in the United States in the state of Iowa. The little girl grew up in a farmer's family, had a good looks, which wasn't anything special. The only notable that distinguished the girl from the others was a birthmark on her face. At first her parents didn't pay the birthmark on her face, but over time, skin area, but as time went on, they realized something was going on. Something wasn't right. The girl's appearance began to change rapidly. It turned out that Grace's face a birthmark. The girl turned out to have Sturge-Weber syndrome. It's a vascular disease was manifested by pigmentation of the skin, as well as the development of benign tumors. The unfortunate woman's face became severely distorted, deformed features. Already by adolescence, when girls turned into beautiful girls, she became a real freak. It was as if her face had some kind of a mask that was incomprehensible. That made the person look like a strange or repulsive doll. Grace's face also looked a lot like a horse's face. She was indeed ugly, but fortunately her mind was not affected by the disease. Although such cases are not uncommon. Sturge-Weber syndrome is often accompanied by significant mental deterioration of mental capacity. However, Grace not only had a good soul, but also a bright mind. She was intelligent and well-read, and she always tried to help people. Except there weren't that many willing to socialize, much less befriend strange girl. Besides, as time went on, the swelling around her mouth became so large that it prevented Grace from speaking. So the girl practically completely withdrawn into her own world, consisting of books and thoughts about her difficult fate. Grace realized that she had very little chance of being happy, and she was willing to take from of her dubious looks everything she could. So, the woman decided to enter a beauty pageant the other way around. The competition, which took place in 1935, was held in 1935. The most unattractive lady, Grace, won by a huge margin. It's hard to imagine that it would occur to anyone these days to organize such an event. And I don't think anyone would have decided to take part in it, but winning a bizarre contest completely changed Grace's life. Grace, the thing is, at the competition, an American woman was spotted an important man, the owner of a freak show. It must be said that such shows were very popular in those days. The performers got good and even fame, albeit even if it was questionable. Immediately after the competition, Grace was invited to join the company. It wasn't easy for an American to overcome the embarrassment and in her pride to start to showcase herself for the public's enjoyment. The woman tried her best not to show how much it hurt by the fact that everyone was laughing at her ugliness. And Grace was generously rewarded for her suffering. She received a great salary that hardly anyone could afford at the time. Grace was paid almost $200 for gigs every week, and the American began to buy everything she wanted, including beautiful shoes and dresses. That's how Grace tried to hide her ugliness, which, ironically, had made her so much money. It's interesting that a woman with the horse face even had admirers. Grace wanted love so badly that one day she confided into one of the circus workers with whom she spent the night. Immediately afterwards, the man quit his job and was gone forever out of Grace's life. But that night led to the birth of an adorable boy. Elmer was healthy and, most interestingly, a very beautiful baby. Grace felt completely happy raising her baby boy. Elmer loved his mother and thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. The boy had grown into a gorgeous man. Elmer was indeed very handsome indeed, and his mother's money made him rich. The man became the manager and administrator of his celebrity mother, and for many years, he did not need anything at all. However, the family idyll was disrupted by the fact that Elmer was disturbed by Elmer's addiction to illegal substances and alcohol. He spent a great deal of money, while at the same time Grace's fame was slowly waning to nothing. It ended up the woman was left penniless in her pocket. She died in poverty at the age of 70 years old, a few years after her mother's death. The world and handsome Elmer. Grace was not pretty, but she had a lot of nice moments in her life. She was rich, she was beloved by the public, even though all of that had all gone out of her hands. But such is our fleeting and changeable life. That said, what made Grace truly Grace's only happiness was her son, whom she adored. Though her path on this earth was not without clouds, the horse-faced woman with a horse's face has lived many joyous moments, being by the side of her Elmer. That's all for now, friends. Share this story with your family and friends. See you soon.